return to the source. What we do when we teach is there's lots of things that we see and there's lots of things that we don't see. A return to the source actually means about bringing the energy back, first of all, to yourself, and then later on linking with nature and the universe. Now, because lots of people have lots of worries, anxieties and negativities, a lot of the energy is focused in the head area. So what that means is it's all going up to the top. And what that means also is it's a place of limitation. Now, this energy has to express itself somewhere. So sometimes what happens, they get headaches, migraines, can be bad backs, bad necks, all kinds of stuff that's related to these things. It all depends on a person's weak point, because everyone has a different weak point. What we learn to do is we learn to think on a point about 2 inches below the navel. This is a very important point. In the Japanese way, we call it ki, and we focus this ki energy, in the center. In China, they call it chi. Yoga, they call it prana. But basically, it's about life force. Life force also comes from the source, and you could say that everything is linked with the life force. So in Japanese, for instance, the word is ki, which is Ki, 2 letters. Yet it has an infinite meaning. They say at first that the Big Bang came from nothing. But I can't understand something coming from nothing. Because if you multiply 0 by 1, it equals 0. If you multiply 1,000 by 0, it still equals 0. So although it came from something we didn't understand, it wasn't nothing. We could say it was a very dynamic, still place. A very dynamic, still point. So when we meditate, actually we're trying to be like this still point. We're trying to have this same dynamism. And this same dynamism, which came from apparently nothing, this very dynamic still point, created everything that we see and that we don't see. So the idea of return to the source is to understand this concept and to understand that because everything came from it, everything actually is still a part of it. This energy is also ongoing and it's also ever fresh and ever new. And because of this, every time we meditate or we do breathing or anything that we knew, also it can be ongoing. So whether it's a technique or even cleaning the shoes, washing the dishes, we can actually start looking at these things in an interesting way. Because otherwise, of course, everything gets very boring. So as we bring in the idea of energy and concepts and also working from the center, as we put everything into our center point, it's actually linked to infinity because it's going back to the source. Now, because we think from this area, even if we have worries and anxieties, actually it doesn't come back because it's going on to infinity. So we can store a lot of things into this infinite point. And in the beginning, this is only a point, but later it becomes a doorway to infinity, which goes outwards and also goes inwards. If we look out at the universe around us, we see the universe around us, and that's easier to understand. But when we say that infinity goes internally, that's a little bit more difficult to understand, because we start to think about the body, the organs, and things like this. But now we have to go beyond that and think about the atoms, going beyond the atoms and the neutrons. Now they say if you split an atom, you can get an atom bomb. And an atom is very, very small. If you split a neutron, you have a neutron bomb, which is even smaller than an atom. So following this logic then, if we go all the way back to the source, which is a very tiny spot, it must be a very powerful place. So this is what we mean by return to the source, is to understand these concepts and to work with them through the mind and body exercises, the meditation, the breathing, the Aikido. So here we learn the principles, and then actually we practice them as much as we can in our day-to-day life. We try and improve our quality, and then instead of having lots of worries and anxieties, we actually appreciate life much more. And if we give out, let's say, good things, good thoughts to life, we attract better things to ourselves, and hopefully we bring some goodness into the world. So this is the idea of the DVD and also the organisation. Kolesnikov School of Mind and Body Development, with Aikido and also with Tai Chi.